Hi, this is the next video for the last exam, exam 3. Exam 3 will cover 4 chapters, chapter 15, 17, 19, and 20. So chapter 16 is a self-learning chapter, so it will not be included in the test 3. And for each chapter, I have 2 true or false questions and 6 multiple choice problems respectively. And we don't have any calculation problems for chapter 17 and 19, but I have 2 for chapter 50 and 7 for chapter 20. So the 2 for chapter 15, we will not do the assessment for the linear programming during the exam 3, so Excel is not necessary. But we will consider the centered problems of stuffs there, like for the chapter 15. So the 2 problems, both of them actually come from the 2 centered method, which like you find the x coordinates value, y values, then you will make sure like where like the new location vicinity location. And the 7 problems, 3 of them will come for the reorder point, 2 of them comes for the total cost, and 2 of them for the EOQ. And once you learn the chapter 20s, like if you figure out how to do the homework for chapter 20, you will be fine like with all the problems here. And even its calculation problems, each of them value 2 points is still like under the multiple choices format, so you don't need to provide the necessary calculation process, but I will give you the proper information as well as the options. You just need to, based on your calculation, to choose the correct options like for the problems. Okay, now let's talk about details for each chapter. So chapter 50, we discuss transportation, the logistic stuffs. And for the logistics, like the first part you need to review, please take a look at what's it's like kind of get some overall sense about logistics and figure out what does mean international logistics, the third-party companies like UPS, USPS. So this is all on the first slide. And then please take a look with the different transportation modes. We have the different mode over there, like this is one of them. Okay, the different transportation modes. We have the truck, the rail, ship, airplane, and the pipeline, and the last mile delivery, the hand delivery. So take a look with the 6 different transportation modes. Make sure that you can figure out each of them, and we have a chart to categorize them like into different, the location places based on the cost, based on the efficiency, based on the quantity, the volumes they can transport. And then please take a look with the cost docking, hub and spoke system stuffs over there, which relates to the different warehouse types. So warehouse is a general terms, and distribution center is a specific warehouse, and we also have like some other special, the special warehouse like the cost docking, hub and spoke system to make sure like you can distinguish them. If I have a have a multiple choice problem, I describe something like describe like a warehouse, then please make sure like you can choose which one it is. And for the facility location analysis, then we have actually 15 in total. So read that 3 slides. We like when you want to choose a new facility location, what the kinds of issues you need to consider about. We have 3 slides with 15 in total. For example, the proximity to customers, the cost, the neighbor, the tariff fees, the government policies, competitive advantages, and so on. So in total, we have 15. As well as to take a look about like the locate service facility stuffs over there. And for the tools part, you only need to review the central method. And you don't have to prepare or review the linear programming for chapter 15 because we will not assess it like in exam 3. And the following slides just give you like some important slides, which I may have like more than one questions related to the part. So the transportation modes, the issues, like the 15 stuffs I just mentioned. And this is kind of like the formulas you need to prepare for the chapter 15 calculations. This is how we find like the x value and y value for a new vicinity. It's really similar to a weighted average. And if you forget how to do that, please feel free to review the examples here, the example 15.2, and it has all the details calculations here to help you to find the x and y. Okay, so this is chapter 15. For chapter 17, we learned like the IoT ERP. So please review what IoT is, what the ERP is, especially like the basic four aspects of the ERP, any ERP system. And the make sure like you know how to distinguish the two main objectives of the ERP, the transaction processing and decision support, as well as the modules, the ERP modules. We have HR, finance, we have sales, marketing, we have manufacturing and logistics. So take a look with each modules and to make sure like you know the main functions for each module. And take a look with those three slides related to the ERP example, the software example, the SAP, as well as to take a look at the functional serial approach, like we consider three main aspects or the three main areas in business, like the purchasing, manufacturing, and distribution. So if they do their work dependently, even like they achieve their goals, like save money, save cost, but it may not a good decision considering the overall business. So this is what you need to review for chapter 17. And for chapter 19, we discussed the aggregate planning, the sales and the operation planning here. So all the titles are marked as red, which means that you probably will meet more than one question related to that. So please check what does mean the aggregate operations plan. And when we consider, so actually they have like a few like important stuffs, like the aggregate operation plan is kind of intermediate range plan, which like for the 3 to 18 months, and it's can the main logic here is actually want to balance the supply and the demand, and we make the angry operations plan for a group of products, not a single product, and then to check the external internal environment, like the demand kind of external, the internal like the workforce, the production rate, the inventory, to read those like slides over there. And the strategies, we have three. We have stable, a kind of like stable workforce. We have chess strategy and never strategy. Make sure like you can distinguish each of them and figure out like what they are. And except for the three basic strategies, we also have some contracting as another strategy, as well as that four relevant costs, like the back order cost, the hiring firing cost, and others. And another thing you need to review is about the yield management. We have examples. We we use the hotel as examples to illustrate how to apply the yield management, and make sure like take a look with those five stuff. This is strategies. Take a look with those five factors if you want to apply yield management successful. So it should meet all the requirements here. And for chapter 17, 19, each chapter only have 18 slides in total, including the title. So it's actually 7 pages, 17 pages, 17 pages, 17 slides for each of the chapter 17 and 19. So if you want to prepare the exam 3 well, like for those two chapters, my recommendation is like please go through each slide carefully and to make sure like you have some you don't have to memorize, but you need to just like get some sense about it. Whenever like it mentions that part, you should be able to go back to check, okay, this is the chapter 17 is like when we talks about what the specific topic is. Okay, so please carefully to reading the slides. And if you have no ideas about like what the sentences on the slides, you can just go back to the textbook. And otherwise, you don't have to reread the textbooks for the chapter 17 and chapter 19. Okay. And the last chapter, chapter 20, we talks about inventory management. And take a look what is inventory and the purpose of inventory. Like some we prefer small inventory, large inventory. Why companies keep the inventories? And the inventory cost, like we have holding cost, we have back order cost, kind of like if you don't have enough, we also have ordering cost and other costs over there. And to make sure you can distinguish what does mean independent and dependent demands. And actually we discuss kind of like the demands over there. And the inventory system with different models, and the why I mark as red because we have a lot of calculation related to this part. So the fixed order inventory models. And the price breaks, this is kind of like another tools, but we don't have any questions like I mean calculations. Calculations related to price breaks in exam 3, but you will still need to understand what does mean. What this tool like helps you to manage your inventories. So this is about the fixed order quantity model. And at the beginning, when we want to figure out the EOQ, we actually have those assumptions here. And this is how we do the Q models over there, like how we decide what is the best quantity, best order quantity. And the formula is here. Okay, so the optimal quantity, or we call the economic order quantity here, equals to a square root 2ds to h. Okay, D here means the annual demand, or the daily demand is kind of a demand. And S here means the ordering cost, which means like when you order a this is not the money you spend on purchasing. This is kind of the processing of ordering. So it's the ordering cost per order, and H means the holding cost per unit. And if you have those three numbers, you will be able to find the economic order quantity. And once you figure out the economic order quantity, you will be able to actually, this is like another two calculation problems comes for the total cost. So for the total cost, we consider the holding cost and the ordering cost. So for holding costs and also like the cost, like the money you spend on buying stuffs, and this is ordering cost depends on the number of orders you placed and the ordering cost, and this is like the average quantity you keep on hand, the holding, and this is the holding cost per unit. So this is the total cost. And this slide actually gives you two formulas you may need to use, okay? And then another kind of like the calculations of chapter 20 comes for the safety stock, so the reorder point. And this is how we find the reorder point. We consider like what kind of service level you desired and how many units you need during the lead time. So this is what we have. And this is another formulas you may need to apply for the exam 3 in terms of chapter 20. And if you forget how to do that, please feel free to review the examples on the PowerPoint slides, and then you will be able to, you will be fine with the exam 3 calculations, okay? And I also have a couple, example questions for the exam 3 as well. So for these questions here, this is like what set of applications supports the capabilities need to manage, schedule, pay, hire, train people for the organization running. It is HR logistic. This is considering like the ERP systems here. So this is like for one of the main applications of ERP, which is HR, human resources. And the second question is for an operational perspective, yield management. This is comes for chapter 9. I mean, the yield management, the SOP stuffs over there is most effective under which of the following circumstances? Okay. Option A, demand cannot be segmented by customers. Option B, inventory is perishable. Fixed costs are low and the variable costs are high. The firms doing yield management is very profitable. This is come for that 5 requirements if you want to. So the correct answers, it should be B. It should be like for this, for option C, it should be fixed costs are high while the variable costs are low. And the option A should be, the demand should be able to segment it by customers. So this is what we have. And problem 3, this is actually ask you the EOQ stuff. So you just need to, based on the formula, EOQ, the optimal quantity here, economical order quantity equals to square root 2ds divided by h. So we find the correct answer should be option C. And this is kind of like all the examples I like to give you in terms of exam 3. And good luck.